Canberra. I'm coming to you from Canberra, Australia, and this is a channel I started to help me with my unfinished projects problem. So, this is this one. I have some panels and a heap of fabric in here somewhere that is for a teddy bear quilt. Here it is. Okay, that's everything for that. Now the triangle in the box. Alright, I don't know where that came from. I don't know why there would be a tiny little triangle in here, but they get everywhere. Alright, let's put this away. Okay, I'm going to, what have I got? These are my teddies. I'm going to do half square triangles around the teddies. I've got some teddy fabric as well, so I can probably make some blocks out of that too. But mostly I want to use this fabric, and I may have to pull out some more green. I want to have pink and green half square triangle blocks, and I want to do a like one square of dark and a square of pale. So what you do is you have half of your half square triangle block is darker and half of it paler, and then you can make this nice kind of soft effect where you have squares or diamonds, whatever way you want to put it. So I'm just going to start cutting those. I think that will just be a nice mindless little activity to do. I usually do this in front of the television. I can't have the television on while I'm filming, but just pretend there's background noise. It would probably be Dave's craft room today. His last video, he showed us some blocks from a Baltimore album quilt he is starting with a science fiction theme. It was awesome. I just want to stop everything else and start one of those. But I'm really trying to do a year when I don't buy a heap of extra stuff, especially fabric, where I don't start a heap of extra things that are not on my project bingo. And so I'm storing that away in my mind, and that's going to happen. I'm just not sure when. So essentially, this will be cut slowly, everything lined up. Actually, I think part of the problem with this is that it's an old cutting mat and it has a few well ingrained grooves, and it's not cutting as well as it could have, but it's also got a bit of a heat problem over there. So this is the one that I just use for small projects and for cutting out in front of the television. Be perfectly frank, I think if I was watching this on a YouTube channel, I'd be yelling at the screen saying, speed this up or turn yourself off. I'm going to turn myself off. I've been cutting away, making lots and lots and lots of triangles and stitching them together into half square triangle blocks. So I'm just in the process of pressing now. So these are I've got a lot of pink, a little bit of purple, a lot of green, bit of maroon and some brown in the mix. So I've been trying to get one light side and one dark side, and I've also been trying to get two fabrics that harmonize together but which can each form a square that's a different color. So these ones will hopefully be able to form a purpley or a darkish purpley pink maroony square, and these ones I might actually go with a green, so they would make a green square. So I've got different coloured squares next to each other from the way that I've put the half square triangle blocks together. That's one pile of already pressed ones. That's a partial pile of pressed ones. That's the rest of the ones that still need pressing. And I've got another pile here that I'm working on. I've pulled out the teddy bear panels, and I pulled out the half square triangle blocks that I made with all the colours that are in those panels, and I'm trying to put them together. I was putting them together with a diamond shape in the middle, and I didn't like it. Decided to just go light, dark, light, dark, light, dark all the way across. And then as I was doing that, there started to be a little bit of a pattern with colours going in a slant. So I thought I'd just have a look at that. I think it might be a little bit too strong for the panels. Though I'm going to make the panels bigger and I will outline them better. I need to be able to get 3 of the HST blocks across one of the teddy bear panel blocks. So I just need to put some borders on those. Looking at it through the camera, I actually quite like the arrangement, but you do lose the teddies a little bit. So I'll see what happens when I make those borders more prominent. I'm kind of hoping that it works. I'd like to get this one done. I think I'll just make a single bed quilt out of it. I'll probably have some HSTs left over. I might do a cot quilt with those. But yeah, I need to get more pink and purple in there. I've got a lot of green, a bit of sort of maroony colours and a bit of brown. I'd like to get some more colour into it. And I do have a print that just has bears on it. I think it was part of the range that the panels were in, so all the colours go. So I might just cut out some blocks from that are HST sized and pop a few of those in as well. Yeah, I'm just not sure about those HSTs. I think it's too bold and too dominant and just takes away from the panels. Anyway, I'll keep having a play. I've done a little bit more work on designing this teddy bear quilt. I've decided I like the diagonal lines. When I actually pull the panels out from behind those blocks, there is some division and it's not so overwhelming for them. And there was no planning done with this quilt, so all of the HST blocks were made to the size that I felt like making at the time. And then when I cut out the panels, 3 of the blocks the panel's not quite big enough for 3 of the blocks. So I'm going to put some borders on the panels, and I think I have a nice dusky pink somewhere. So I'm going to try and find that, and I'll do the, I've got to do a 1-inch border on them, and I'll do all the 1-inch borders in a dusky pink, because all of those panels have got a bit of dusky pink in them. And that will create even more separation from the HST blocks, and I can go ahead with this diagonal business. So at the moment I have this panel here at the top. I've got that out and I'm measuring the blocks to fit, because I realized that it's going to throw out my design, because at the moment I've got like 2 blocks across the top of a panel, 2 and a bit. I need it to be designed so that there are 3. So I need to be doing that, like putting it together as I'm designing it. I found some lovely fabric that my son's mother-in-law made for me for Christmas a few years ago. It's hand dyed and it's absolutely gorgeous, beautiful fabric, gorgeous pattern. So I decided to do the borders in that. Now, underneath these pink strips are the blocks. What's wrong with this picture? I'm going to put borders on all 4 sides. I've cut all of the strips the same size. I have not cut any of them longer so that they can go on the top and the bottom after I put 2 sides on. I said a few rude words and then thought, hello, you have an HST collection. Look, a box chock-a-block full of HSTs. Some of them are 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. I need 1.25 inches by 1.25 inches. This is a match made in heaven. So I'm going to set about just cutting these down and choosing a few that will go with the pattern. I also have a border that has a lot of pink, and that might be the go. I might just be able to unpick that, and that will be perfect. From the look of it, it's got all the right colors in it. Anyway, that's what I'll be doing for a little while, just cutting down HSTs to make up for the fact that I'm an idiot. Borders fixed. I now have as many long borders as I have short borders. Yay! I just want to show you how perfect the pink border is for that quilt. It's just brightened the whole thing up. It's awesome. I must have a chat to Annie and say thank you so much for that fabric. It is fantastic. So that pink has convinced me on this quilt. I've started sewing it together, so with the lines, the diagonal lines. It absolutely is not overbearing with the panels now, because the panels are so distinct within the pink border and everything just seems brighter. It's very happy making. I'm finding this very exciting at the moment because I'm just so happy with the result. Here it is, finished quilt top, teddy bear quilt. Yay! Pretty pleased with that one actually. I thought it was going to be more difficult than it was. I'm all set up to start quilting the teddy bear quilt. I've put the first line on. Can you probably see that? Just a faint blue one. The colours are going that way. I'm going to quilt that way. Yeah, I don't really want to emphasize the slant, and going this way I'm not trying to quilt in the ditch, which can be a little bit problematic. So I've got my walking foot on my Husqvarna, I've got bright pink thread underneath, and I have a multicolour thread on to do the top. So it's got most of the colours. It's got pink and green and a little bit of blue. There's no real purple, but there's not a whole lot of purple, and there's no dark red, but that's okay. It's overall kind of a fairly pink quilt, pink and green really. I'm just finishing up quilting the teddy bear quilt. So I'm just marking it with chalk. I'm going through the joins of the half square triangle blocks, and I've decided the easiest way to use my chalk pen is not to use it at all. I just use the chalk in my fingers. So I'm quite pink now, but I'm getting better lines. This is actually a very light machine. It's a heavy duty one, but it's quite light, and so it does move a lot. The one I was using, the Husqvarna, was very heavy and it didn't move around, and it was easier to like make everything flat and then hang on to it while it was, and just keep it straight while the sewing machine was going. This one ends up going like that. The other one just stayed put. It had been going quite nicely on here. Just as soon as I start talking and sewing, something goes awry. Okay, so I'm folding this over so that I can get it all flat on here, and I'm just making sure that there are no bubbles. And because of this machine moving all the time, I'm having to actually hang on to either side. Don't get me wrong, I do love this machine. Goes through anything, and actually it's really great for quilting because it's made to go through thick fabric, and this is 2 layers of fabric and batting, and so it makes a really nice stitch. It's very even, and even with the bumps and things, you don't get a lot of teeny tiny stitches that kind of bunch up, but it just moves, makes it more portable. I'm getting a bit past the point in my life where I want to be lugging a really heavy machine around. Lots of advantages, only 1 or 2 disadvantages to this one. Making a scrappy binding for the teddy bear quilt now. I'm actually using fairly short strips, which I would normally use bigger ones, but they are a bit more in keeping with the size of the bits of colour on the edges of the quilt. They are bigger because I'd have to waste a heck of a lot of fabric making more half square triangles from the scraps if I actually used just ended up with, I think it's 3 inches of colour on, and I'd never be able to match it up. Not that I really want to match it up. I've just been I'm getting a 45-degree angle between these pieces of the binding, and I'm just laying them on here face together and popping on this little ruler that has a 45-degree angle on it. Just lining that up and making a pencil mark. which is very efficient. And then that's face down now. You turn it back up, face up, and the next bit goes on face down. Too easy. I don't know why it took me so long to figure that one out.